So I think there's an idea that it is somewhat of a necessity to achieve something, to create something, and to sort of become something that is bigger than you. And I think ultimately that in order to find yourself, first you have to lose yourself. And what I mean by that is that if your self is an idea, then is it really real? And so, not to make this too confusing or anything like that, but we live in a world where we need a persona to sort of identify ourselves and to interact and to behave and to, sort of organize ourselves in this world and in our society and within culture. But at the same time, when you go back to nature and when you look at our true form and our pure form, we are beings. And our being is not a persona, our being is not a name, our being is not an identity, our being is a being. We are energy and we are infinite beings. This is sort of the belief of consciousness, that consciousness is an energetic form. And so this form of energy has nothing to do with the ego. They are completely separate. And so when people talk about having these sort of experiences where they separate what they thought was themselves from themselves, that is sort of the split of ego and self. And this is, an experience that people have where they sort of get it. They can finally understand and sort of be relieved, because there's a certain pressure of trying to hold up a character or a figure, a sort of actor that you're playing. Because as you start to go through life and you create this persona, humans, we feel the need to build upon that character, to play that role the way that people perceive it. And the problem with that is that creates a lot of problems, because as beings, there's nothing that we have to prove, there's nothing that we have to do. And not to take on a sort of nihilistic approach, but life really is meaningless. It is purposeless. There is no grand, purpose to human existence. There just isn't. There's ideas that we can construct and things that we can create in order to make sense. And ultimately, I do believe in taking on responsibility in order to create our own sort of purpose and meaning. But that first has to come from understanding your unique self, your idiosyncratic self, and understanding that your ego is a construction of the external world. Yourself is a construction of the internal world, meaning coming from yourself, versus having your lifetime of interactions and behaving around people within society and culture and all of that create you, which is what I think the ego is. It goes back to the quote from Thomas Cooley, where he says, "I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am," which is a perception of a perception. And that to me really gets at the idea of ego. That to me is what ego is. It's a perception of a perception, because it's not who you truly are. I think we all have times where we hear maybe this voice in our head, or we sort of realize that we can take a step back, that we can watch the ego, and that ultimately is the deep down self, the self that is present and that is unified with nature and being. And it's already whole. There's nothing that needs to be added to it. And life is simply a play of form when you realize that. And there's a lot of relief in that, to just be able to be.